Well, guys, we're finally here. Five Nights at Freddy's has finally made its way onto the Nintendo Switch. FNAF 1, 2, 3, and 4 have all been put on the eShop, and after playing, well, the first three, I figured I'd do a review of them. So, this is going to be specifically on the Nintendo Switch version, so keep that in mind. And also, I'm not doing FNAF 4 because I don't have that one, and I probably never will get it. Now, I'm going to just go straight down the list, so I'll start with FNAF 1. Now, most people already know about these games, so I won't go super deep into it. I'll just go into the Nintendo Switch exclusive stuff, although I will touch other familiar territories. So, presentation-wise, the game, honestly, it's Five Nights at Freddy's, but the game does honestly look really nice. One thing I was kind of wondering when this game was being put on Switch was how good the game would look, but weirdly enough, Click Team actually managed to make it look pretty good in HD. Yeah, it's on computers and whatnot, but I'm honestly kind of impressed. I think it looks good. And even in handheld mode, it actually looks fine. And story-wise, you work at a pizzeria, you survive till 6 a.m. and don't let those creepy animatronics kill you. That's it. Okay, there's a lot more to this story, but that's all you need to know for right now. And gameplay-wise, you got 2 doors and 2 lights. You can close the doors, and you can look through the cameras to check where the animatronics are coming from, and you have to close the doors when the animatronics are at your door. However, though, you are limited on power-wise, meaning you basically have to strategize how every single night. You have to basically study every animatronic's behavior. Honestly speaking, it's really interesting use of resource management and whatnot. And then controls. Now, I did not really know how this game was going to control. In fact, being honest, I always thought that FNAF just would feel really weird with a control stick and D-pad because the game's point and click. I don't really know how it would make sense. Well, to bring up the cameras, you press L, and essentially you use a D-pad or the stick to move through the cameras. Honestly, it's not the worst thing ever, considering you're only really going to ever need to look at Pirate's Cove, so when Foxy's coming out. But then we have the other controls. The B button uses the light to which one you're looking at, and the A button to close them. I gotta be honest, I did not really get in with this. I honestly just don't know if I really like it or not. On the one hand, I don't think it's terrible, but on the other hand, I don't like it because I feel like it should be a shoulder button. And this right here is something I'm going to be talking about at the end of this review of all the games, so yeah. But control-wise, it's not terrible, but we'll get into that a little later. And soundtrack-wise, there's not much to say. And content-wise, oh boy, this game is $8 on the eShop. I'm not even kidding. $8 for this game. It's pretty steep, to be honest, for an old game. And there isn't much new Switch content. You basically have the first 5 nights, the 6th night, the custom night, and that's it. You do have cheat codes, which is something, but that's not really content. And oh yeah, there's cheat codes. Essentially, you can use this cheats menu in the game to essentially cheat the game. Unlimited power, faster nights, radars for where the animatronics are, that sort of stuff. It basically makes the game so easy you don't really have to do anything. Seriously, you could put all those on and then go through the entire game with both doors shut and you won't ever die. Seriously. Now, I don't really care that the cheats are there. To be honest, I like that they're there just in the sense that maybe if you're having really, really hard time with a particular night or something like that, if you're just that sucky, you could put on the cheats. Or if you've already beaten the game, you can just cheat your way through it, considering you already beat it once, you don't need to do it again. And overall, I don't think FNAF 1 is that bad on the Switch, but it is definitely the worst out of the 3. And now we're going to be jumping to FNAF 2. Now, FNAF 2 is very similar to that of FNAF 1, but we'll still go category. Story-wise, the game is pretty much the same thing as the first game. You work a night shift and you have to stop the animatronics from being close to you. This time using a Freddy mask to trick them, and also winding the music box so that way the marionette doesn't come out. And that's pretty much that. And presentation-wise, it's the same thing as the first game, but I honestly think the second game looks quite good. I think it looks good. And gameplay-wise, I mean, FNAF 2 is pretty similar to that of FNAF 1. You turn on lights and you look at cameras, but the main difference this time around is that you'll use a mask, so that way you can trick the animatronics into thinking that you are already in an animatronic suit. And there's also Foxy as well, which you have to just flash your light at countless times. And yeah, there's also mini games as well that you can get sometimes when you die, but yeah, that's pretty much that. And now onto the controls, and I gotta be honest, I think this game has the best controls. L brings up the cameras, and the B button is used to wind the music box when you're on the camera for the location. And the R button is used for putting the mask on, and the A button is pretty much used for turning on the lights. I gotta be honest, I actually really do like this. Now, I don't think they're perfect controls, but I think it's way better than how I thought. Because to be honest, putting the mask on is a lot more efficient, and I really like that. I just think it works very well, and it makes a lot more sense to have it as a shoulder button instead of just one of the face buttons, which is just dumb. And content-wise, well, the game's also $8, which is kind of ridiculous for a game that's like 5 years old, but it does offer more than the first game. I mean, just like the first game, it does have cheats, although they aren't as groundbreaking and mind-blowing. But they definitely can help you out through getting through the game. It's the similar thing with FNAF 1, where you have 5 nights and then a 6th night and then a custom night. However, unlike the first game, the custom night actually has challenges, and if you beat them, you'll unlock various plushies that go on your desk and the 3rd star for the game. So, it isn't as bad, but I gotta be honest, it's pretty much almost equal content-wise, just a little more than the first game. And soundtrack-wise, I mean, there isn't really a lot to say. It's fine. There's lots of ambience, but that's all I have to say on that. And overall, FNAF 2 isn't too bad. To be honest, I think FNAF 2 works very well on the Switch. And spoiler warning, it's the best one out of them all. It might be a biased opinion considering I do like FNAF 2 more than the other games, but we still have one more to talk about. Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is the same thing as the previous 2 games, but we'll get into that in this part. Now, presentation-wise, FNAF 3 is the same thing as the other games, you already know. Story-wise, you already know, 5 nights, you can't die by Springtrap. And gameplay-wise, well, it is a little different this time. Essentially, this time you're in an office and you have cameras you have to look at. Now, the difference this time around is that you only have one animatronic you have to watch, Springtrap. And essentially, you want to keep him as far away from you as possible. So what you need to do is you always have to play the audio in the camera right before the one he's in, so that way you can push him further and further back. There's also vents you have to seal, so that way he can't reach you too easily. But the thing is, there are phantom animatronics that can occasionally pop up, causing your ventilation to go down. And sometimes the audio will eventually go out and the cameras will go out, which is when you'll have to use the maintenance panels to reboot them. And there is strategy that goes into the maintenance panel and which button to press. Do you want to just reboot all of them individually, or do you want to just reboot them all to make it much more efficient? It does add a little more strategy, and there's also a lot more mini games in this game as well, many of which are required to beat the game. So there's definitely a lot more to this game. But what about the controls? Well, I don't think the controls are nearly as bad as FNAF 1. You look around with the stick, you use the L button to bring up your maintenance panel and the cameras, and you use the A button to play your audio, the X button to switch to the vent cams, and the A button to seal the vents. And the mini games are pretty self-explanatory. To be honest, the controls aren't too bad in this game. I think they work quite well. Now, I don't think they're nearly as good as FNAF 2's, but I think they're not too bad. I do kind of like them. I'm not gonna lie. And then content-wise, well, this game's also $8 for, again, being an old game. But, I mean, there's a little more you can do. You got 5 nights, then you got Nightmare Mode, and then you got the extra menu where you essentially can look at the animatronics. yay. Then you can also view their jump scares, you can replay the mini games, and you can also unlock the cheats menu. Yeah, the first 2 games had the cheats unlocked from the very start, but in FNAF 3 you have to unlock them by getting 3 stars. Essentially, once you complete the 6th night, you have to beat the first 5 nights all over again by completing all the mini games to reach the true ending. And there's also one other cheat that actually isn't really a cheat, it just makes the game more hard, the aggressive thing. And that's pretty much that. To be honest, I really don't have much to say about content. I mean, it's alright, but seriously. And then we finally have the soundtrack, which is fine. So overall, I think FNAF 3 isn't actually too bad on the Switch. I think it's actually fine. I think it's fine. And now it's time to go into the last part of the review. Basically, the overall conclusion. Now, to be honest, I am so glad that these games are on the Switch. But I gotta be honest, they really are priced high. This is probably my biggest gripe with these games. They are priced way too high, and the problem with it is that it's hard for me to recommend them. These games all cost $8 a pop. When I heard they were coming to the Switch, I honestly thought they were going to be coming out for like maybe $3 or $4 a pop. But nope, instead it's $8 a pop, literally twice the price. And these are old games too, and you can buy FNAF 1, 2, and 3 on the App Store for $3. Now yes, the first 2 games you have to buy the cheat codes for an extra $5, so it does even out there, but why wouldn't you just get FNAF 1, 2, and 3 on the iPhone or iPad? Because it's honestly probably better on there, because it's probably a lot easier to use your finger to touch the cameras rather than using a D-pad or a control stick to look at the camera. That's my biggest problem. If they priced these games at $4, I would be singing a different tune, but the $8 for each of these games is just ridiculous. Even though they might have some content, the games are so easy to beat. It only really takes an hour to beat each game. Literally the only real way the games are padded out time-wise is just jump scares and trial and error. So that's pretty much that. To be honest, they aren't too bad, and I don't think they're all bad ports, but they don't have the best controls, and this is why customizable controls need to be an option. They need customizable controls for this game. I swear they need to put an update out there somewhere at some point for the first 3 games to add customizable controls, because it's not easy to learn, especially with FNAF 1. It's a lot harder with FNAF 1, which is why customizable controls need to be in an update soon. That way people can play the game they like, the way they like, instead of forcing them to learn an inferior way to play the game. So, I had to get that one off my shoulders. So, that's pretty much that. Now, finally time to the scoring. I'm going to rank all the games on there individually, and then I'll rank them all together. Now, FNAF 1, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it's bad, but there are a lot more problems with this game compared to the other games. FNAF 2, I'll give this one an 8 out of 10, as it does have better controls than the first game, although it doesn't have a lot extra content. And FNAF 3, I'll put at an 8 out of 10 as well, pretty much equal to FNAF 2. And altogether, I would put these 3 games at around an 8 out of 10. They aren't bad, and while the prices are high, you know what, that part of me can go take a nap. I wanted to make these scores based on the games alone, not including the price. To be honest, I'm glad that the games are on the Switch, but they could have done so much more. But what's done is done, and there is still FNAF 4 out there that I haven't touched yet. I'll probably touch it eventually, or never. Time will tell, I suppose. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.
It's showtime! Did you enjoy the show? Well, time for the highlight.